So it's uploading. It'll just take a minute and then we'll be able to move to the next step. So this was just a still life that I created for a class I had in New Britain at their art museum. And you can see it gives, there's no file name, I haven't named it. So it's just what it was on my phone. Media type is a JPEG, and then it gives you the size as well. If you want to upload a different file, you have that option too. So I'm going to hit continue. And then I'll give it a title. I'll just call it something simple since this is an exercise box and illustration made live in New Britain. So I hit done, continue. So you can't add a co-creator yet. They haven't enabled that feature. This is still a beta program, so to speak. So you've got the creative contribution, 100% of the profits come out, and my share would be 20%. And that might seem small, but there's one thing to talk about when it comes to minting NFTs. For the most part, it is not free. You can sell and everything and make a profit, but there is something that they call gas fees. And this is basically like the cost of doing business. So what that entails is you're paying a certain amount of money to get artwork or music or whatever onto the whatever marketplace you're using to sell the NFTs. That can be something like open source or not open source, forget what it's called, but there are different platforms for uploading NFTs. So a gas fee, it's kind of like you're rolling the dice. You can either pay something as low as $300 or upward to like $2,000. So when I looked into doing that myself, that was one of the obstacles that I met, was I could be coming out of pocket like that. So instead of doing that, I went with Voice, where they cover the gas fee up front, and then I'm getting a smaller cut on the back half. So taking that into account, I'm pricing my artwork differently to account for that, not only that gas fee that they're taking care of, but then their big cut as well. So it does balance out, and I would honestly rather take a smaller cut than have to worry about coming out of pocket and paying upwards from $2,000. So that's just the rationale there. So it lets the platform will charge 5% in addition to the other percentage, and then 2.5 fee on subsequent sales. So then you okay to all that on the rights, and then I agree to the terms, and then I'm creating. So it just takes a minute, and then now it's available. So it's not for sale yet, as it says. And if I want to list the NFT, I just hit that, and I can do a price, fixed price, or I can do an auction. So for this exercise, I'm just going to do a fixed price. I'll do something like 400. And then I'll hit continue. And now I have the link. I can copy that and then send it to my audience. And so from there, if I go back to my profile, it is going to be at the top since I just minted it. And that is how I mint my NFTs on this Voice platform. And I'm going to stop sharing screen now so we can open it up.
Wow. So when you're saying put it on the blockchain, just to back up, the blockchain is kind of an airtight kind of financial ledger, so that there can only be one owner and that the ownership transfers. And actually, that's the big problem. If somebody finds a wonderful painting in their grandmother's attic or something, and
Right.
they bring it to an appraiser, you can't necessarily show, who's owned it and that you have the right to sell it. So that's what's being taken care of here by putting it on the blockchain, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Even I have pieces I haven't even put up for sale as NFTs, but just being really protective of my work, I'll mint them and store them someplace digitally. So it's like, hey, I do have the rights to this. 'Cause I've had my work stolen before. I've done some portraits and things like that. I found like some of them on other websites. So it's just the kind of thing like I want to avoid. And minting an NFT, even if you don't intend on selling it, is a great way to protect your work.
Cool. Well, you've got people thinking here. Zalika, you want to ask your question?
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Hope you can hear me. Okay, cool, cool, cool. What you were just saying about minting your work, even if you're not selling it, does that cost as well, like a gas fee?
No, no gas
Or-
fees for that. At least not on the platform that I'm showing, which is the Voice HQ. You can do that for free. Only time money exchanges hands is if you're selling something. Listing it on their platform, selling it, you're doing that for free.
Okay, cool. So you can mint it, which means that you have the ownership. It's just
Mhm.
not for sale.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I have first of all, I really like your work. Thank you for being
Thank you.
here.
Oh,
I just followed you on social media this morning while I was looking at your work.
cool. Appreciate
So
it.
I have lots of questions, so let me
Go
try to
for it.
dial it down.
So I'm here.
Is there any platform that you use more than another one because it gets you out there more?
That's a great question. So the only other platform I'm using now for NFTs is a platform called Rarible. Um, I
Mhm.
am going to be getting a larger cut out of that, but at the same time, I also paid to get into this. I had another, I forget the name of the company, but they found me on, I found them on Craigslist, and then we started talking, and basically they mint NFTs for artists. The fee for that is like $300 per image. So it was something that, I was really comfortable about that, it had the potential to sell. It was like just an illustration of a Buick from Havana, Cuba, when I went there for a little bit. So I said to them, this is the one I'm going with, signed a contract, they get their 300 and then they get another cut off the top of that. So I'll be getting something like 40% instead of the 20. But again, I'm coming about a pocket a little bit to do that. So I wanted to have like my work in two different platforms, the Voice and then, the rarible.com. So that's just it for now, but I'm always doing research.
Cool, cool. I have an NFT on Rarible as well,
Cool.
but it only cost me about $40 to mint it. So
Yeah.
I don't know, because you were saying 300. I was like, oh no. So I don't know how it worked
300
out with
because
that
they're
one.
also marketing it.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So speaking of that, or speaking of marketing, how do you go about marketing your NFTs or even just your digital art in general? Because I'm an iPad artist as well, but I also make stickers. But I
Cool.
am wanting to have something in both, like the physical and the digital. So how do you do your marketing?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So my marketing, I do a lot of marketing on social media, Instagram, Facebook. Sometimes I'll take out ads if I feel like it. It's been a lot of word of mouth lately. There's a co-working space that I go to called Known. I have a lot of friends there, a lot of people that I do work with. And the big push for me lately has actually been getting married, of all things, because I had my wedding reception at Art Space in New Haven. And they hired me to do social media marketing. And then I got art classes out of it, which I'm currently teaching. And then I have an installation on 195 Church Street through Arts and Ideas. So sometimes like you'll do something and it snowballs into something else. So I try to like also market myself offline, like having the balance of, doing the social media, but also having meetings and connecting with people and going to networking parties and having business cards, kind of like being new school and old school. I found that to be, the best way for me to, just not only make a profit, but, help connect other people and, just do good work. Because I'm always looking to not only, be successful myself, but also what can I do to help other artists and what they're doing, which is why, I'm doing this NFT talk.
Cool, thank you so much. To answer like a couple questions in one, because I was
Great.
wondering if you primarily focus on people in your area or online. And I realize now, why limit yourself to one or the other?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Mhm,
Like I love being local. I love having local connections.
mhm.
But I also love having friends and connections in California and New York and just as many places I can get to. And with the internet, you can get anywhere.
Yes, it's awesome. Okay. Do you find that, but so you mentioned that a lot of your work that you are creating is through clients' commissions. So I have been finding that I get more people who want me to make something special for them rather than just wanting what I have. So do you find that people more readily want their own special thing rather than just whatever you're creating?
Yeah, that's a good question too. I like that. For me, it varies. So right now, one of the things I'm doing to just have some passive income is selling prints, and I'm selling prints at the shop called Evo, which is like a smoothie shake place near ECA on Audubon Street. And I've had people buy my work through that, and it's good to have a local presence too. And it's nothing too crazy. It's just like small 5x7 prints that I'm selling for $5 each, and they're doing pretty well over there. I think for the most part with my work lately, it's kind of shifted to people wanting something created, like where they go to my website and they're like, hey, I like the style that you did for Arts and Ideas. How do I get that for myself? And I'm fine with it either way. Like if people want to buy my prints, like that's cool. But if they want to commission something, hey, I get to charge a little extra for that because I'm making something original, and then they might want me to print it onto canvas or make like sign prints or something like that. So like either thing is fine. I think right now I'm kind of more into just having a balance of like getting that passive income with prints, and then also having commissions. Like I have a client, for instance, I think we've been working together for like probably the past maybe like close to 10 years, because I teach her grandson art classes because he also uses an iPad, he's into animation and illustration. And then she'll commission me to create like family portraits for her that, like very historical with her background and things like that. And it's great. So like I'm getting to teach what I know to the grandson, and then, the grandmother is giving me commissions. So like she's like absolutely one of my favorite clients. Like I can go to her and say like, hey, my rate is $60 an hour. If we're making revisions to anything we're working on, it's going to be $30 an hour. And like she gets what the price is. And she's probably the one client that I'm comfortable not having any contracts with. And like that's the other part of it too, like just making sure to have contracts with people. As I've definitely been burned like early in my career where I've kind of just been on good faith. I'm like, okay, like this person owes me this amount of money for this piece, I'll give it away, and then suddenly they want all these revisions, or they're not willing to pay me for the work that I'm doing. So like just having everything in writing is just like a beautiful thing. Like people have skin in the game.
Oh my gosh, thank you for that tip. I never even considered that.
No problem. And then just to
Wow.
piggyback off of that, 50% deposit up front all the time. All the time.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Okay. I don't know if anyone else has a question or something. That's fine. I'm just still thinking.
Mhm. All good.
I'll take it back here for a minute just to ask, the NFT
Mhm.
model does or does not allow for like limited editions. When you mentioned prints, I was thinking how often it is that you'll make like 10 of something and it's, it's scarce, but it's not like unique. Is it NFT means like it's absolutely unique, there's only that one in the world, or can you do a limited edition with them as well?
You can definitely do a limited edition. So what I've found is that artists can like have a cutoff point. Like if they're doing an auction, they can auction off like 10 of 10, and then they close it, and then they take it off the server. So whoever bought that, they have the rights to it. They have that trademark, but like it's only 10 of 10. Or you can just like keep making them, just like with art in general. So yeah, you can do it either way. Mhm.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
Anyone else in here have a question who's able to take themselves off mute and chime in? Apologize for the recording glitches earlier. I think the recording on my device somehow didn't work as well as just sending it right up to the cloud.
Mhm.
Hi, so this is Elaine.
Hi,
I'm
Elaine.
just curious. Hi, I'm a musician, so I'm just trying to figure out how this works for musicians, because you said that you can also upload music files.
Mhm.
So would it be similar that a composer would then register their music on a site like Voice?
Yep, absolutely. I think there's another platform. I haven't been using it as much lately because I found Voice, but there's a platform specifically for music NFTs, and I believe it's called Sing, SING, as in gopher, and they are marketing NFTs specifically for musicians and people that record and write music, where you can, like, you could even like take song lyrics that you're coming up with and mint that as an NFT and make it part of a package or something, like some limited edition package that a certain amount of your fans could get, or like a studio recording of a song you can only get as an NFT. So there are like so many different ways you can go about it, like even like an NFT album where, you know, you're just selling limited quantities. So yeah, I would definitely recommend looking into that. Or if you wanted to do one of the other ones I mentioned, you can just upload as an MP4 or like other files like that. But yeah, it definitely works the same way.
Okay. And so also you can do that for video productions, say you do
Mhm.
any kind of work that you do. Okay.
Yep,
Thank you.
absolutely. You're welcome.
Often artists want to know more about pricing. And I noticed that you're pricing these NFTs as quote unquote real works of art, you know, as you would see in a gallery or something. And I'm
Mhm.
sure the gas fee and that whole business model thing has something to do with it. But
Mhm.
is there a way to make like a lower tier price point so that there's something more accessible? So it's almost like I don't know, like some sort of elevated digital business card that's also an artwork for like your VIP clients or something. I don't know. I'm just making up stuff.
No, that's cool. I like that. That's a great idea. So I didn't get to it when I was scrolling through my feed because I think I have like at least 4 or 5 pages of NFTs. But on the very last page, if you go to it, I think I have two pieces priced at like 100 or 150. So it starts at that 2000, but as you keep going, you know, the price decreases. And so they're like just like tiers, like with anything. So like certain pieces, I'm going to charge more. I might do those in limited quantities, and others, you know, I might, just sell in higher volumes and then do a lower price. So I'm always thinking of the customer and just how I can accommodate them, and then also, you know, respect the kind of work that I create as well. Because I want to make sure that I am honoring all the time I put in, you know, all those 10,000 hours, whatever it is, and the clients I've had just kind of reflect the price point now. But at the same time, I'm always going to have like an entry level price for my pieces too. Oh, I think I can't
On
hear
the
you.
on the
Oh, okay.
collector side, sorry, is there some kind of digital gallery or portfolio or way for a collector to assemble the NFTs that they've bought and, you know, just admire them, show them off, whatever? How does that work? Do you happen to know?
Sure. I think, for instance, I think there's a platform called OpenSea where you can kind of have your NFTs collected in like a gallery style format. So yeah, like a quick search, you can probably find more like that. But I think once they're bought, you know, they have to go someplace. So I think something like OpenSea, you know, a collector would be able to like showcase all their NFTs that way.
That makes sense. Cool.
Yeah.
Elaine, did you have any follow-up questions?
No, but I'm going to have to do some basic homework on the NFTs. You know,
Yeah.
I'm old school, so this is all new to me. So
Mhm.
I'm going to do some more background research on it and how
It's
I can
it's
use it.
blowing my mind as well. Are there places you would recommend that we go to read other than, you know, just general Googling? And or do the companies have?
Yeah, the companies have extensive information about the NFTs. So I would start with voicehq.com. They have a lot of resources on NFTs. I believe they're even doing a talk on NFTs as well in New York, like a conference or a summit kind of thing. But yeah, they're a great resource, and they're also on Twitter and Instagram, Voice HQ.
So I have a question. If so you're a digital artist, this is a
Yes.
medium that you can really kind of get into. You can really kind of do something with it. So you basically be selling your art, whether it's one picture or maybe it could be a series or a cartoon.
Yeah. I do cartoons. I do children's books. A lot of the work stays digital as of late, but I also print onto canvas. Like if I was showing in a gallery, I would probably print it onto canvas or like make large scale prints and then, just sign my name to them.
Okay.
Mhm.
Do you have to, well, I shouldn't say this, but does you have to report to the government? Are these sales that get reported, or is it a whole crypto thing means that it's kind of
If it
outside
reaches
of?
a certain threshold, yeah, you
Yeah.
got to report it, like with anything, because you're turning that crypto. I mean, if you want to use it, for the
Turn it
most
into-
part, you're turning that crypto into cash. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So at that point, yeah, then.
Yeah.
Then
hmm
Okay.
But yeah, great question.
Good.
For the
Hi.
artist,
Oh.
would you have the option to cash out your pieces at some point? So it's almost like a little savings account in your own
Yeah,
art?
exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, like a savings account.
Wow.
Yeah. Exactly.
Would
Yeah, it's
you
great. I'm still learning myself. So I'm basically presenting all my findings from today. Like I'm going to continue to do the research so I can be even more well-versed and well-educated on NFTs and, being a artist that uses NFTs.
Earlier when you were talking to us, you mentioned an app that you use that kind of animates your drawing, but do you mind sharing that app?
Sure, no problem. Let me see how I can do this.
I could see your stuff lending real well to that, Zalika.
Oh yes, that's what I'm thinking.
See if I can
I
flip
feel overwhelmed with inspiration right now about this.
That's what we aim for.
see if everybody can see that. Okay, let me. All right, so the app is called Procreate. I'll open up one of these paintings here. Let me just take my phone off. Okay, here we go. All right, so let me find something interesting to show. Okay, I'll go here. All right, so Procreate is the app I use for all my illustration. And what I love about it is that it automatically records the brush strokes from any illustration, any painting I make in the background. So as I'm working, I'm actually creating time-lapse videos at the same time. And I started as a cartoonist. So even if I'm doing like digital oil paintings, I kind of start very sketchy and then I work up from there. And this was, I referenced a photograph I took while I was in Paris for a little bit. And I had just gone to the Louvre. So just saw this, sullen looking statue. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I ended up making a painting out of it. And this has actually been really lucrative for me too. Like these videos, I've been able to turn them into commercials and, clients will buy them and I'm kind of working off a script. So it's like being a storyteller, being an animator in a sense, like there are a lot of different applications for these kind of things.
Well, and it's a reminder, right, that it is about process, even though you've got this beautiful end product here and the NFTs, an argument could be made that it it's completely product focused, but with this, it balances back to the process, which is really cool.
Yeah. People really seem to be interested in the process, like whether it's my students or even my clients, they kind of want to know what goes into it. And these applications make it super easy to just showcase that. I was even working with a longtime friend of mine. He owns a company in New Zealand called Ambient Design, and they create an iPad application. It's like oils and watercolors. So I created a series of videos with the time lapse with me just talking over them and talking about my process. So again, like it's just so easy to create, like these educator videos to where people can like really feel like they're in a class, but they're watching it online or something like that. So it's been great.
Do you use a specific app for voice-over video editing?
Yeah, that's a good
Or
one too.
how did you learn how to do that?
A lot of research. Like I'm on the internet. Like, so the way I work is I'll be working on something on the iPad, but then researching something on my phone so I can learn more about it. So I use an app called Flipboard, for instance, and it's like a news aggregator app. So I'm just kind of dialed in to my interests. So something will pop up like, oh, okay, I want to learn more about that. And then I'll go to Google to find out more information and read articles. But long story short is I use an application called Record It, and you install it. It's just like any other app. And then you can install a shortcut. I'll probably have to do a video on this at some point, but there's a shortcut. You swipe down from your screen. I use an iPad, an iPhone, for instance. And then there's a circle button that you press and hold. There's a countdown, and then anything on your screen gets recorded. So like whatever you would want to do, like if you're doing a tutorial on your phone or a tutorial on a tablet or something like that. So that's made it so I don't necessarily have to get like a rig and, have myself recorded. I can just have it go right from the screen. So similar to like we're recording the Zoom call now, I do stuff like that all the time with this recorded app. And it's been really great to just have something so accessible where I don't have to have all this setup. I can just like do it. And then like 5-10 minutes later, I've got a product I can start putting together.
Okay, cool. Thank you for the information.
Yeah, no problem.
You've seen so many technological advances in your career already, Raheem. What do you imagine, like if this really goes, I mean, could we just use art instead of money at some point? And
Yeah, that would be amazing. That would be so amazing. That'd be so cool. Just picturing it now.
Right. And I'm also
like
thinking
everyday
about
purchases and making that with art, like that would be so wild. And then big purchases making it with art. Like, oh, I bought a house with this NFT that I bought with cryptocurrency.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
I'm driving these wheels because this is
it's
the art that
possible.
they chose.
Yeah, especially as more industries start accepting cryptocurrency as a payment. It's definitely coming.
Because in essence, it's like you're putting, your face on the bill of whatever it's like
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind
that's
of,
what it is.
I mean, I'm grasping for things that are familiar as
No,
references.
yeah.
Things
It
that are totally
fits.
familiar sometimes have no form. So
Right.
yeah, it's like, there is art on money already. We forget that.
Yes.
So
Right. Yeah.
also thinking about the collaboration between performing arts and visual arts and how you go and see something and you get a program.
Mhm.
Well, Zanetta here, I don't know if you're able to talk, but she does this like all these contextual pieces of information with when you go see a play and you get like access to the files to see because it's a digital theater, and you
Oh,
get
that's cool.
like this behind the scenes stuff about the how it would be if it were fully realized. When you go into a regular theater, you get a program which
Yeah.
has, art of some type on it, design work anyway.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm just thinking like you have to buy a ticket. What if instead of buying a ticket to see a play and going to see a program, and getting a program when you go in, you just like bought an NFT and that is your, that's the ticket and your program kind of together and conceptually supporting something about the whole design, look and feel of the production. I don't know.
No, that's brilliant. Yeah, and I think that's where it's going too. Like even buying a ticket to an art gallery show and then getting like a digital program guide. So when you're looking at the pieces, maybe you have like voiceover or something from the actual artist, you know, because you're buying into that and you're supporting the artist. But you're also finding out more about the piece, like if that artist was like walking right next to you. So stuff like that too.
Oh, wow.
But maybe we should pursue that, Eleanor, because I can see that really taking off, like the program guides and the voiceover for shows and stuff. And it'd be
Well,
cool.
that's the world Zanette is in, and we're fortunate to have her here in West Haven, cooking up all the stuff. Because yeah,
Yeah.
an internet-based theater company is a beautiful forum for, playground for a lot of the. Here you are.
I puppy sitting, so.
Oh, great.
Yes. Yeah, I was trying to figure out the connection between the work that I do and NFTs, because I've always heard about it, but never really understood, what it meant and like how it relates to my personal art and then the work that I do. And thank you, Eleanor, for bringing that up, because I never thought of, the programs that we do, how we have a file with all the, the sketches and things, as something that could possibly be an NFT. Never thought of that. And I like the, the integration of different sounds and, even if it's like a lighting cue, something, sample of that or things like that. Yeah, I never, I like this. The wheels are turning.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool.
Just for the sake of back and forth collaboration, you want to talk about the production you have coming up?
Yeah, so our production coming up is it's Bao. It's a Chinese American adoptee story. And so yeah, it not much I can really say right now because they're still in the they're still in the process of it. But yeah, it's gonna be great. It's stories that haven't been told, especially with the Chinese American stories haven't been really in the forefront of theater in a while or ever. So it's going to be really, really awesome to do that production. Yeah.
Remind me, when you decide which production to do you already have the director, or do you then do a call and pick the director?
Yeah, the playwright comes to us first with their work, then we workshop it, and then we do a call for a director if the playwright doesn't want to be a director. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see. Yeah. And then you do the call for then it's the production staff and stuff, and then the casting call. So all of that is done for Bows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All good. We have our cast. I think we're starting this Thursday, so very exciting.
Cool. Julia, you want to chime in here? I think Raheem for maybe the longest here.
I would say so.
There we go. I was on like 2 different things and I was like, hey.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm just still obviously like very fascinated by the technology. For everybody else who I don't know, I've known Raheem since the first iteration of co-working in New Haven, which was the Grove. We've collaborated on different projects. I was just saying to back up a little bit, I was just saying to Lisa Dent, I was like, I'm not an artist, but I do so many collaborations with artists from an event basis that sometimes people think I am. But one of the things, the pieces of this that I really love is the technology. I'm always very interested in how technology can be married with so many different aspects of the world. And with this new kind of digital art currency that's happening, I'm obviously going to have another another thing to think about as we continue these conversations. So I just think it's completely fascinating.
Here, here. My thought process when you mentioned Lisa Dent at Art Space and thinking about citywide open studios, and Raheem and I, before the rest came in, we're talking about how October is just, you know, if you've been in New Haven for any length of time, it's the time when you want to get out there and meet artists in their studios. And yeah, thinking about how citywide has evolved over time, and how NFTs and digital art interface with the gallery world. Is it really sort of a separate standing, like this is a DIY, you know, artists doing it for themselves kind of thing, or is there some penetration with galleries so far?
I think there is penetration with galleries. For the most part, though, I do see it as something that is extremely empowering to artists, and galleries do want a part of that. And I think it's great. At the same time, I love the fact that artists have so much control and so much power over their work that they can go out and take the actions of marketing themselves, and, you know, making these profits off of their art, and just knowing where the money is going and coming, and, you know, just doing the work. I've personally always been the type of artist that enjoys marketing and enjoys just having as much information as possible, like wearing the hat of creating the work, and then having the hat of marketing, and then, you know, creating the business deals as well. So I know that's not every artist, but, you know, I would encourage artists to at least be knowledgeable about, you know, the things that they could do, and, you know, just having all the information possible. And then if you want to outsource to somebody, that's cool too.
Choice is freedom, huh?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, one citywide, you were pairing up with Ami Zeiner and doing iPad drawings that were projected as a rear window projection out the front window of the Grove, so that people walking by at the street level were seeing the process of him drawing communicated out into that window display.
That was a lot of fun. I remember that. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, Julia. All these different moments, and how, you know, just the urban street itself is a canvas.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Elaine, you've got the Bridgeport Citywide Open Studios coming up, and they are calling it that now. I guess we gave the name up for grabs and they grabbed it.
Okay. Right.
So I just actually can fish for a postcard I picked up at the Eli Whitney Barn in New Haven, because that's going to be really fun. I think November 11th is the opening. Is that something that's on your agenda?
Yes, I did see something, and I think I recall putting that in my calendar.
Great.
Yeah, so, and yeah, it's funny you say that, because my mind was kind of going, and how can this be something that we can maybe work with the library or with some of the artists, you know, that we do work with, some of the programs we have that include art and artists, because we do want to reach out more to the creative community. So, but as I said, I need to do my homework. I really need to do my homework with this. It's all new to me. It's like totally new, so I really have to wrap my head around it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's always courageous, I find, when people who run spaces, run programs, create the platforms for artists, are also generous and transparent learners. And
Right.
you know, to have an NFT lab, or, you know, something like that, where people are kind of muddling through and figuring out how to apply it for their own purposes. I mean, seems so very much the spirit of what libraries have always done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even if it's providing a workshop or information about it, like say having you come and speak to, you know, the Bridgeport artist community, you know, to make
That'd be
sure that
fun.
they're aware of this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that they can, some may want to get involved with this. So yeah, even on that basic awareness, and that's what the library is for.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, it's needed.
Okay, so can you put your contact info in the chat? I can.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
Let me
okay.
find one in the chat.
That would be great. Mhm.
Yeah, let's do it.
I got the link too that I was fishing for the.
Oh, okay,
so
right.
you have the link anyway.
Because as we come out of COVID, I find that we're starting to do programs in-house, but we also want to keep that virtual element too, because it gives
Yeah.
everyone the option. Do you want to be in person right now, or is it something we can do a hybrid or virtual? Continue.
Mhm.
It's really a form of accessibility, isn't it? In case people are caring for someone at home and,
Mhm.
you know, have whatever limitations they have, or, you know, just, again, choice is freedom. So I think
It
that's
says
great.
freedom.
Mhm. Yep, it's great. So I'm going to copy these down. Copy them.
Yeah, I'm just putting one to my NFTs directly.
And I'll send you guys a little one pager with the apps. Oh, good, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just to kind of have that for the record. And speaking of hybrid things, you know, last year, Arts West CT did a big push for Artist Sunday, and I can only imagine that with supply chain issues and the shop local movement swelling, that we'll do that again this year. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Samantha Violante is organizing a holiday pop-up at the Savin Rock Surf Shop, which has some retail space in it, and they're going to devote their entire floor to artists having a chance to set themselves up in a retail setting, and that's going to be every Saturday and Sunday through November and December.
Great.
Captain Thomas Boulevard in West Haven. But then the Sunday of Thanksgiving weekend, I think that's the 27th, will be officially, you know, Artist Sunday, and that was founded last year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always the real test is the year later, you know, whether something has legs, but
Yeah.
I think this does. So
Cool.
that's one of the local things. And I know Samantha's still looking for vendors. So for instance, you know, Zalika, if you wanted to set up there, you know, that's what we're about, is putting people in touch.
Yeah, making those connections is so important.
Yeah. There's also been talk about putting together a zine, whether in a digital form or actual physical form, maybe physical form less frequently, but to kind of play off of that nostalgia we have for old comics and, you know, collectibles, and just how nice it is to actually physically hold. I guess that's the opposite end of the spectrum from the NFTs, you know, that desire to kind of hold things. So so that's probably going to be getting off the ground this season too, some type of West Haven based artist zine. So be looking for that as well. I guess zines also touch on library culture, and my son goes to ECA, and they had a whole focus on zines and a really nice display to come and look at the end of it. So those instructors are also kind of a resource if the library wanted ever to do a program focus on zines, if you haven't already. Just want to point out that Elaine Braithwaite, and I want to hear you tell the story, because I've heard that you started off your career at Ora Mason in West Haven, right? And then there were some milestones along the way to lead you to be the first Black female library director in Connecticut. Is that actually accurate?
Yeah, I guess so. Milestones and mishaps, I suppose, you know, but I'm originally from New York in the Bronx, and most of my library career was out there. And I moved to West Haven in 2003. And a I was still working in New York, but a couple of years later, I became a branch manager at Orr Mason. And I was there for, I think, about 6 to 7 years, around the time Zanetta graduated from high school. And I figured it's time to kind of branch out. And then within that time that I was the branch manager in Orr Mason, I was also a wetlands commissioner with City of West Haven. And that was really great because it got me out and learning the city, learning a lot about the city and the wetlands and the watersheds. Then I went to Mount Vernon. I was there for a year as their assistant director of the public library. And then after that, through no fault of my own, I lost that job, but I decided to revisit my love for music. And I got my master's of music in teaching, master's of education, teaching music at the University of Bridgeport. So I got that in 2018, and I was set to work at Betsy Ross. There was a great opening to be a string teacher there. I was like, this is perfect. But then at the same time, the position for director of Bridgeport Public Library was available. So I applied for both. And thanks to Zanetta, she gave me the wonderful advice, go for the library job, go for the money. And so I did. So I've been here 3 years. And it's great because, I do love libraries too. As much as I love music, I do love, there's something about libraries and the whole thing. I do love providing information, lifelong learning and education. So I've been here since 2018. COVID has kind of set us back a little bit because libraries are about bringing the community together. We're the gathering place. And so COVID has really kind of changed that paradigm to, being safe, social distancing. We're doing more with virtual programming, but we do want to get people back in. So we are slowly starting that. And hopefully the situation will cooperate and there'll be no more variants to hold us back, from that. So we're trying to do both. One of the things that I feel like it's more of in my mind and I'm trying to make it a reality, but I want in Bridgeport Library for us to be a place for innovation and entrepreneurs and creatives so that people who just feel comfortable in that realm, they're not a 9-to-5er, that we can provide opportunities for learning and workshops in that realm, And I made a really great contact the other day, a women's group that provides training in business entrepreneurship, and they're willing to do workshops here. I've also connected with someone from the city she's an artist, and she wants to make the little free libraries, those little libraries in town. So I do want to have that happen as well with a program where we make the little libraries and get them up around town. So I just envision that as a great artist kind of project where we design the libraries and paint them, have, people. So there are a lot of things that I want to do, a lot of things that I feel like they're not happening fast enough, but if they will happen.
That's interesting that you say that. That's exactly what I'm looking to do more of, like workshops with the community and even professional development. I was also thinking of that too. Just it's like even people that wouldn't consider themselves as artists, I think would be able to get a lot out of like a professional development workshop on, say, like emotional intelligence mixed with like abstract art. And like, oh, how are you feeling today? Let's do some abstract painting and then, just like get it out. And so just stuff like that is what I want to be doing more of. So like, I would love to be able to like, come to the library and lead some workshops and just talk about what we can create.
Definitely. And it's funny because Zanetta, we talk about that all the time because one day I said to her, you know what, I just realized that I'm a creative, because I spend so much time with the library and running the library and all those business kind of aspects. But as a musician, the way I approach my decision-making and how I approach things, it just hit me that, I still have a creative side that I express in the way I even run the library. So I think everyone, like you say, everyone can benefit from that, maybe even realizing they do have a creative side and how creativity should be a component in running an organization or, running projects.
Yeah.
So definitely, we definitely will talk about
Great.
that and how we can bring that to the library, because that definitely
Excellent.
falls right in line with what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I just dropped a classic book recommendation in a lane called Artful Making, what managers need to know about how artists work. And it's a lot of honor for ensemble, honor for collaboration, honor for, the things that the
Mhm.
approach to the blank canvas and trusting the emerging solution, and how much of the business world is, beating their heads trying to get to what artists go to work and do every day.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Well, all right, we've dipped into the next hour, and I have no doubt we could go on, and this is so rich, and thank you. But in respect for the container we created, and all the nice contents you all helped fill it with, I'll let you go about your evening, and we'll see what we can pull from the recording here to get that out along with these links. And
Well,
you're just so generous in smoothing the path for others, Raheem. So thank you so much.
my pleasure, Eleanor. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yes,
Bye.
thank you. I enjoyed it.
No
Thanks,
problem.
everyone.